Hello, and welcome again to Talking Baseball with Leon Lee. Today is May 6th, 2021, and my name is Steve. I'm here again with Mr. Leon Lee to talk a little bit of baseball. And Leon, we have some very special guests tonight once again.
Yes, we do, Steve. And I tell you, I love to welcome everybody to our podcast tonight. All we like to do is talk baseball, real baseball. I have been classified as old school. So when I talk about old school, I talk about real baseball. The way, as our guest said tonight, we are pioneers of the game. To me, it's the only one way to play. Great, instinctive, reactive, visionary baseball. And tonight we have one of the closest people I have with me that's right here with me. We have the Ricky Jordan from Sacramento, California. How you doing today, Ricky?
Good, Leon. Doing well. Excited about being on. Haven't seen this big guest you got coming on here. I ain't talked to him in a long time, so I'm excited to talk to him a little bit about baseball.
Yeah, I can't even tell you how much this young man. I see a little gray in his beard. I know we're on the Zoom, but the Zoom is not going to be shown. It's just radio. It's all podcast, but I tell you, it makes me feel old. But I'm going to let another special guest introduce our special guest tonight. And this is a young man that's dear to my heart, played with my son, ex-baseball player, runs a great program in Baltimore, Maryland. And he's a God relative to this guest right now. So I'm going to give him the honors. And that's Stoney Briggs. How you doing, Stoney?
I'm doing well, Mr. Lee, Steve, Ricky. And our guest tonight is Delino DeShields, the first base coach with the Cincinnati Reds.
All right. And good to have you, Delino. How you been?
I'm good. Just been busy. You know how the season is. It can be a grind at times, but caught a few off days here this week, so I was able to join you guys.
We really appreciate it. And I'll give you a little history. When I first came back from playing in Japan, I was hired as the roving hitting instructor for the Montreal Expos. And I had the pleasure of having athletes, real athletes like Delino DeShields, Marquise Grissom, Larry Walters. We had guys. I can go on and on. Delino, you probably remember more of them than I do. You played with them, but we had some.
Yeah, we had a bunch of them.
Yeah, and just the idea of just the attitudes, the confidence. We had big Randy Johnson in Indianapolis as a pitcher who ended up Hall of Fame pitcher. But as we move on, the reason, the greatness to me of having Delino DeShields, a person who was a master at stealing bases, that's almost unheard of nowadays, but also a great middle infielder and athlete in general, and now coaching and coaching with the major league team in Cincinnati with the Cincinnati Reds. I just can't tell you how happy I am to have you on tonight.
Appreciate it. Glad to be here with you guys.
Yeah. And my first question is, I know in today's game, and you're in the action now, I brought up the kind of a crazy word, analytics. And I have a lot of hitters. I still work with a lot of kids, and they talk about launch angles and, hey, coach, what do you think of this? And I said, I don't really think about it at all because I don't believe in it. And I think that you could talk about Hank Aaron knew how to launch a ball. Willie Mays knew how to launch a ball. Barry Bonds knew how to launch a ball. They didn't know the first thing about launch angle. They knew how to track a ball, see the ball, get themselves in balance, and hit it. What do you guys think of that?
Well, I think we all played, and I don't think we've ever intentionally tried to hit the ball on the ground. Every time we step to the plate, we're trying to hit the ball in the air.
There you go.
So you really don't even have to talk about that. But I think it's gone to an extreme now. Guys are. I don't know. It's just not a lot of range in these guys' swings right now. So it's not in one spot. They can't handle the pitch, and velocity is just killing these guys right now. So we need to get back to the basics.
Yeah. Now, what is all the shifts and the no bunts and nobody's moving runners over. Starting the runner.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough to watch, Leon. Honestly, it is. I'm watching it up close every night, and I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, wow. I might hit 500 in this league today. You know what I mean? If they're playing defense like this. Really, it's bad. But never having played in a shift myself, defensively, when I first got this job and came back to the big leagues and I saw the shifting, it was really hard to adjust to. It took me a while to wrap my mind around it because I just wasn't used to playing defense like that. You got a whole side of the infield that's open. I'm like, wow, that's not right. You know what I'm saying? But these guys are they're hitting the ball where they're standing. You know what I mean? If it's 5 people over here, they're hitting the ball that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can't expect any wobble when you're hitting the ball into the ship.
You know, Ricky, what do you know, it's like in our day coming up, we're a little bit ahead of Delino. I mean, well, you may be closer to Delino. I'm a little ahead of you guys, but one of the things that we learned growing up was really not a plus. It was just almost a necessity to be able to use the whole field. Like Delino's saying, I mean, holy cow, you know, my thing in teaching, when you get that bat through the barrel, if the barrel's back here, you don't go the other way. If it's here, it's going to go to center. And if you get a little quick on, it's going to pull. It's, you know, it's like anything between the lines is fair. But nowadays, kids aren't learning how to handle the bat and hit the ball. I don't even like to say where it's pitched. You don't have to hit a ball the other way because it's away. It just depends on where your hands are. What do you think?
Right. No, I agree definitely with what Delino was saying. I think he would have hit 700 if they'd have put shift on today, because we all could handle the bat and move the ball around the field. And actually, if we got 2 strikes on it, a lot of us cut our swing down. You know what I mean? We made some contact, whereas today, they just take the same swing. I mean, you can throw 3 the same pitches, and they'll swing at it 3 times the same way and just strike out, you know, because of the launch angle. But just far as seeing the ball outside and driving the ball the other way, they just don't do that. I mean, I see a lot of the kids pulling their head off balls. I mean, maybe their first at bat, they might make a nice swing on something and drive it the other way, come back to second at bat, they back trying to pull the ball. I'm like, just keep the same approach, because most of these kids today are pretty strong athletes, and these ballparks aren't that big. They can't hold those kids. These kids can drive the ball out of anywhere in these ballparks. And I don't know why a lot of them try to pull the baseball all the time. Hit the ball the other way and it'll go out. You know what I mean? So,
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. What do you think, Stoney? Man, I know when you and Derek were playing, man, there was no such thing as a shift.
Not at all. I mean, just our BP actually, you know, took us into the game. And the first round of BP is, you know, everybody's working the other way. And I don't.
Right.
Yeah, you know, so that was a game plan. So you started with a game plan in BP, and then you took that into the game. But, you know, nowadays, these guys want to see how far they can hit it.
Exactly.
Or
I mean, a strikeout is okay. Is a strikeout okay with you, Stoney?
A strikeout is okay if he makes a great pitch, but if he makes a pitch,
there you go.
I should be able to hit that pitch. No, it's not okay with me.
There you go.
Runners on third, less than 2 outs is not okay.
Thank you.
Not at all.
Thank you. Situational hitting has gone down the drain. And to me, situations, you know, me at the plate, I might be known as a power hitter in some situations, but I could be struggling. I got Delino DeShields coming up behind me, who's hot as a firecracker, putting the ball in play, don't need a home run. My thought now is I got a man in scoring position. I'm going to be a lot more selective in what I do, because I'm going to try to do everything I can to get the hot hitter behind me to the plate, right? But now, you get guys up there swinging, you know, in situations where they should be trying to either move a runner, cut down a little bit, like Ricky said, do something. I got to get on base some kind of way so I can get Delino to the plate. I just don't see that happening right now.
Because you saw, Mr. Lee, you were talking about a team at bat. And so that's what's going on. Back in the days, in the pioneer days, we had team at bats. We had respect for the guy behind us. You know, nowadays these guys are having money at bats, and this is for my payday at bat, and that's different.
That's a great way to put it.
When you have a whole Oakland A's team of barely hitting over 200, it shows. That's
you're
not
right.
1 or 2 players; it's a whole team hitting 208. That's terrible.
My question for Delino is that situational hitting being taught at that level now?
No, it's not. Honestly, it's all exit velo, OPS, slugging, you know, which is important, you know, to be able to drive the ball, all that, that's very important. But there's so many ways that you can do damage and create scoring opportunities, you know, besides hitting the ball over the fence. And those are the things that have kind of gotten away from these kids today.
Yeah. And you know, when I managed in Japan, and I want you guys to comment on this, I had what they call a manager bonus. If you win a ball game, I had like, 3,000 in yen, equivalent to about $3,000 a game. Beside, they get the fight money. Stoney know about fight money and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Do it over there.
Right.
And but I remember one game I gave all the bonus money to my second baseman, and I think I brought this up in the last one. He was 0 for 2. He had sacrificed the guy over. He backed up on a play that saved a run. We ended up winning the game by a run. He moved the runner he moved over ended up being the game-winning run on a sac fly. We got a run in without a hit. And he was my MVP that day, even though on the line scores he was 0 for 2. But he did everything that game that don't show up in the line in the box scores that helped us to win that ball game. So, on the days where you don't hit the big home run or the days you don't get that big RBI bases loaded double, that's how, to me, if you're going to win a championship, you got to win the 1-run ball games. You got to win the 1-run ball games, and those 1-run ball games will add up for you to win a championship by 2 games. So, I mean, what in the big leagues, I just don't see them doing those little things, and even the commentators aren't commenting or bringing up when a guy hit a home run and run past the runner on the bases, or guy overthrows the cutoff guy and he gets the extra base and he ends up scoring when he should have still been on first base. I mean, what do you think of that? I mean, those are the things that win ball games, the things that don't show up in the box score.
I definitely think today they don't, situational hitting and moving guys over has changed a lot, with these kids. But I know Stoney was talking about how it started in batting practice. I know we used to, and Bob can attest to this too, they'd make us, bunt, you get bunt 1 to third, you bunt 1 to first, you got to get them over. You was doing all this stuff before they even started, because this takes it into the game situation, kind of like, but today, you'll get guys at first and second and they can't even move them over, or you get even in that extra inning, 10th inning, you get a guy at second, they can't even get them over to third. They can't bunt, they can't hit the ball the other way. I think that's the way the game's played. But from an old school point of view, baseball, you changing the game too much. Baseball pretty much predicts itself. When you go out there, it's kind of ABC. It dictates itself, but you got to prepare yourself to be out there moving guys over and winning 1-run games and doing situational stuff.
Like
there are some teams that still play that way. Like the Cardinals are one of those teams that what I'm saying, when we play against those guys, they do a lot of those little things as a club, as a unit, but there's not a lot of it.
Not a lot
in the game anymore.
Yeah. I think Stoney made a comment last week when we had Templeton on, and I'll ask you that, because Steve asked you that question a minute about footwork around the bags, but Stoney made a comment, the game, how did you say it, Stoney? The game will talk to you.
Yeah, the game is always talking to you. A situation in the game is always talking. The game will tell you what to do.
Yeah.
These guys are trying to overthink it and make, reinvent the wheel, but the game is going to tell you what to do. The situation of the game will tell you what to do.
Yeah. But I remember back in the day, Delino, Bob, you and Marquise, I remember I.W. Harper, remember Hart?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I'd go out there and Hart would have Marquise and Delino at the bags working on jumps and stealing bases. But I always thought it was more when I talked to Hart, because we coached together, he said, man, I'm just building relationships. And if these guys don't trust me, they're not going to listen to me. If they trust me, they're going to listen to me. And I don't know if he ever told you that, Delano, but it was that you guys had that relationship, just unbelievable.
Yeah, we love Hart, man. We love you too. You know what I'm saying? But we just were blessed to have great coaches in that when we came into the game. Yourself, Tommy Harper, Jerry Manuel, Hal McCray.
Yep,
that's right. It was just so many guys that were there that were pouring into us, and we were just blessed to have that. It's not like that today.
No, I agree.
Well, Leon, I think that how last week Temp was talking about athletes, playing different sports and stuff. And I see Bob is a testament to that. I mean, he could dunk a basketball, he could catch a football, throw a football, hit a ball, he could do it all. He was an athlete. And I tell you, when he came to the plate, he put the pressure on the defense because we didn't know he fake a bunt on you. And if you want to come in, he drive it by you. If you laid it in the middle, he could take your yard and he could get in the gap. He had all kind of ways to distract the defense and get on base and help his team win. You know what I mean? So you don't see that too much today where all these guys have all these different facets of their game where they could put pressure on the defense like that.
That's right.
He was a baseball Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But I remember being in the dugout. I was in the dugout with him a lot. These guys would come in the dugout. If they made out, it wasn't about, oh man, what I do wrong? What I do that? They'd be going like, wait till next time.
Yeah.
Right.
Am I right?
Competed. We were competing. You know what I'm saying? More than anything else. Yeah.
Exactly. To me, that's the biggest difference in the game today is kids are getting participation awards and they're not learning how to compete. You know, you pay, you play, you don't get cut. And you're getting kids, and I was doing radio for the River Cats for a number of years and, you know, the AAA team here in Sacramento. I started seeing the travel ball mentality getting all the way to the AAA level. And I think now it's at the major league level. And the reason I bring it up is because, number one, and I think you guys could attest to this. I mean, I'm 68 years old, but man, I love baseball. I do. I love it with a passion. Always have. The thing that I really rebel against, like what's going on in Major League Baseball, is that real baseball people aren't controlling the game now. They have analytical people, college graduates, people that got degrees in kinesiology, and you know, they got defensive coordinators that really haven't played. They got positions, to me, and I'll go there. I know Nicole's gonna knock my head off again, but and it's not a knock against women, and they're having the women coaching the minor league ball because of degrees and you know, and bringing diversity to the game. I think it's a wonderful thing, but to me, at the professional level, you got to have people that been knocked down by a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. You got to have people that been 0 for 20. You know, you got to have beside a coach. They got to be kind of a psychologist. Bob, you've been there, done that. You done forgot more baseball than some of the people they're hiring in the game now. You know, Ricky Jordan, Stoney Briggs, they've been through the wars. And to me, to have an impact on keeping the major league levels, the level of the game to where it should be, these guys have to be in those uniforms. And that's just my feeling. But I just don't think the people that have paid their dues are having decision-making positions in the game that really, to me, shouldn't be there. That's just that has affected the game to me on the long run.
It really has, you know, and then it's a shame because this is the only sport. It's like Major League Baseball is the only sport where experience can count against you. You know what I mean? The more experience you have, you know what I mean?
That's
it's
a
like
good statement.
Yes.
It's like, wow, come on, man. You know what I mean? But you're right though, Leon.
Yeah, I remember a long time ago when you first got, I was so happy to see you get back in the game coaching. And me and Stoney's always been in touch. I mean, it's like, to me, Stoney should never have a trouble. If he wanted to coach at the pro level, should never have been an issue. Shouldn't be calling or asking. They should be calling him. And I think that in times where that kind of that old school network kind of survives in the area when they have these decision-making positions upstairs. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to be controversial about anything, but I've been around baseball people. I know baseball people. I have no doubt about baseball people. You know, I made somewhat of a name for myself on the international around, but I never pretended I know more baseball than any other baseball people. But I can tell you for a fact, I know more about some of these, about the game than somebody's keeping analytics on spin rates. And, you know, I know if a guy throws a good curveball or not. I don't care how many times it's spin. You know, if he throws a hanging curve, I saw with my own eyes. There's a guy threw a good spin rate curveball to you in Wausau, Wisconsin. You hit that ball over the center field fence because it had nothing to do with spin rate. It had to do with the fact that he threw a ball up in the zone that you saw. You know, so I mean, tell me.
Yeah. We had to pay attention back in those days, Leon. Mhm.
Well, Delino, I was going to ask you a question that, like Leon said, that we asked Gary last week, and that's about footwork around the bag on double plays and flag plays. Obviously, the rules have changed in recent years that affects footwork, but what do you see in today's game? And if you get the opportunity to teach that to anybody, even the kids, what do you say these days?
No, it's not just that. Now, too, it's instant replay. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of things that we could get away with, around the bag when we played. This everything is going to be challenged today. So, if you get out of there early, if you cheat a little bit, guys are going to be going to the monitors. You know what I mean? So it's changed a lot. But on the flip side, you don't have to worry about protecting yourself. It's, I don't know. I don't like it, because I've seen so many games get changed just by a guy going in hard to second base, making a big play. Those kind of plays usually turn momentum in games, and I've seen it happen many, many times. But those days are gone for now.
Yeah.
But instant replay has really caused a lot of the what you're seeing too. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think if there are 50,000 people in the stand and the umpire made a call, I'd like to see 25,000 people go home saying the umpire was right and 25,000 people go home saying he was wrong. That's the way it's supposed to be. Give them something to talk about the next morning at breakfast.
Right.
You can't make the game predictable. It can't be perfect. It's not supposed to be that way, And to me, a a double play, if you come across his shortstop and the guy makes a perfect throw, but you're avoiding a runner, if your back foot is somewhere around that bag, the umpire would always give you the call. Now, if the guy made a bad throw, obviously, and pulled you away and you made some abnormal move to get to the ball, yeah, you may not give that defense the benefit of the doubt. But now you could make a great play and, make a good jump to get away from the runner and go to the bag. They're going to call the runner safe because the individual.
They're going to the replay.
They're going to the replay.
Replaying everything.
But in a way, with the runner having to slide straight in, so I don't know, maybe I just think from an athletic standpoint, the bag, if you're in that vicinity and you're there and you make that great play, you get the benefit of the doubt. It's entertainment for the fans.
Yeah, back when me and Gary were playing, you had to really protect yourself around the bag. You know what I'm saying? Guys were coming in there head hunting. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it real. You know what I mean? It was a different time, but that was a part of the game. You know what I mean? And I felt like it made it exciting, and the guys that were good at it, Well,
they would yell out. What would the base coaches would yell out? A runner, see, you got a first and third situation and a one out. You want to break up that double play. The base coaches would be letting the whole world know, break it up at second.
Yeah, I tell this story a lot. One of the scariest things that I ever heard at second base was hearing Bo Jackson slide into second base. The first time I saw Bo, and it wasn't even a double play, it was just like a force out at second, but the sound he made when he slid, I've never heard anything like that on the baseball field. I mean, it was crazy.
That's a good one. So nobody wanted to get in the way of Bo Jackson.
No, not at all.
Oh man, I remember we had Fernando Vignon. Well, we were talking about when he got took out by Albert Bell. And he said,
that was baseball. That was baseball.
Right?
Don't come in here playing patty cake. Don't be playing no patty cake up in here. I mean,
to me, having you on Delino with Stoney and Ricky, I mean, to me, it's like really enjoy talking real baseball because I like the kids. I was talking to a high school team up in Folsom the other day. They lost the game by a run. And I said, you guys lost a run game. My opinion is I saw you guys make a couple of mistakes. And the first thing I saw was heads drop to the chest. I said, that's where you lost the game, not the mistakes. To me, you lost the game because you didn't jump back up and say, let's get this thing done. Everybody's worried about what somebody else think. The fans are going, you're there. Oh, my mom and pop looking at me, or the fans looking at me. They must think I'm terrible. If you start worrying about what these other people thinking and you disappointed them, you ain't never gonna win. Am I right about that?
You can't go to Yankee Stadium with that. You can't go to Yankee Stadium playing with that. I mean,
You gotta have thick skin.
yes, sir.
No, you definitely, Leon, you're definitely right. I mean, with this game, it's a game of failure. You got to have some confidence and a little bit of swagger to go out on that field and play that game because you're going to fail. You know what I mean? You got to be able to have adversity and fail because it's going to happen. If you go out there and play enough, you definitely going to get humbled by this game. And all of us that played it, we know you could have went 10 for 10, 8 for whatever. Next thing you know, you could be 0 for 20. So this game, the game will humble you, but you still got to be able to maintain some kind of focus and a little bit of tenacity out there and believe in yourself when you're out there playing this game.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, Delino, I'm going to tell a story. Now, you tell me if I'm wrong. I've been a long time, so I'm trying to remember. But when Delino first signed with Montreal, coming up through, you know, just coming out, he was a basketball player, ready to go to Villanova on a full ride basketball scholarship. All we heard from Bob was, man, I could be playing above the rim.
Hey,
you remember those days?
I had every intention. I had every intention on playing basketball. When I first met you, I was going to school.
Exactly. That's right.
Yeah.
It was no doubt. And you know, that's the advice you gave Derek early, because Derek loved basketball. He's going to go to North Carolina. You told him to follow your heart, do what you need to do, and follow your heart, you know, do it. And he ended up playing baseball, I think partly because of you playing. He saw it. He was a 6'5" forward. He looked at it, North Carolina, 6'5" forward, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, first round draft pick. So he chose. That was his call. But I remember that first couple of years, your heart wasn't totally in there.
Right.
You know, but boy, when you made up your mind, and then that AAA and that first year in the big leagues, it was crazy. I mean, it was just almost like it was completely, when you decided you was going to play this game. As I remember, we had the conversation, man, that you put that uniform on and go out there and make a great play, have a great at bat, man. That's just like playing above the rim, just in a different uniform.
You know, too, Leon, I was playing shortstop at the time in the minors. And, you know, I was struggling a bit at short, you know what I'm saying? So the game really changed for me when they moved me to second base.
That's true.
When I went to winter ball that year prior to making the team out of camp, they switched me to second base. So
I remember that. Yeah.
Really, that's when everything started to click for me. But shortstop was a lot of fun. You know, it's a glamorous position, but it brought me a lot of sleepless nights also.
Let's see, I wasn't aware of it. It was just like, to me, it's like me and Hart and Jerry, we'd always talk, you know, and you go, man, oh man, oh man. Because there was I'll tell you guys a story in Indianapolis. Randy Johnson was there. Randy's 6'10". In Indianapolis, we had this high roof ceiling, this real high ceiling. I know Bob know where I'm going with it. Guys would jump up, razor shines, and some of the guys were up there jumping up, trying to hit this little wire sticking up. Randy barely got it. He's 6'10". He got the wire. Everybody going, what? Bob was in his shorts. Now, I don't think I'm exaggerating now. I'm be years go by.
I remember that. Yeah.
You remember that? He jumped up with no shoes on, with his shorts on, jumped from a standstill and hit the ceiling. And everybody just sat down.
That was many moons ago, Leon.
I know, but it leaves an impression. I tell you, only an athlete can do that.
Yeah.
See, for me, being a coach, I go, shoot, can't nobody else in the country do that.
Yeah, I believe it, Leon, because they could, when you came into second base to try to take him out, he could jump over everything.
Everything.
Never could get to him.
Yeah.
And I believe it because I was in high school and an underclassman in practice trying to stop a dunk, and he asked me, "What were you doing?" As a sophomore, I'm trying to run down. I'm gonna get this. He dunked on me and said, "What were you doing?"
That's cold. That's absolutely cold. But see, that was that swagger. That was the swagger they had, you know. And Marquise, he was the big stride hitter, and everybody kept saying, "Oh, he can't hit with that big stride." And I said, "Watch it." I said, "If it ain't broke, don't fix it." He got a stride, but his hands stay back.
Yeah,
kept saying Larry
there wasn't a lot of talk about mechanics back in those days. I don't recall the mechanical swing coach stuff. You know what I'm saying? You guys, you talked to us more about what the pitcher was trying to do to us in certain situations. And, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't, I don't know, it's a lot different. These kids, it's almost paralysis from analysis. You know what I mean? They have so much information. The pitcher can be standing out there warming up in front of them, but they run to the hitting coach.
Yeah.
They say, hey, what does he have? What does he have? The guy's warming up. He's right there.
There you go.
So
there you go.
It's definitely changed a lot.
It has changed. I mean, you talk to Ricky Henderson, you know, about still in the bag. He go by what he felt. He go by what he see and react to his instincts take over and understand what he needs to do. And the good athletes do that. And I've told this story before. Hank Aaron told me personally, he said, Leon, I hit 755 home runs. He said, I hit 750 pitchers' mistakes. He said, I'll give myself credit for 5 because of a mistake to him is the zone that he know he can get a good swing at. And every hitter, once they realize where their zone is, when a ball gets in that zone, that's a pitcher's mistake. You know, I don't care if it's sliding, cutting, shooting, sinking, whatever. If it gets in that's a no-fly zone. If it gets in that no-fly zone, you knock it out the air. It's simple as that. You know, it ain't no mechanical talk about that. There's no mechanic about it. You just hit it.
So
Yeah.
Leon brought up stolen bases, and obviously you had well over 400 stolen bases in your career. What do you see in today's game, or would you like to see more base run and stolen base attempts? Or obviously the game has changed a lot since you played, but what's your feeling on that?
Yeah, I mean, from a philosophical standpoint, you know, if I was putting together a team, it would be a team similar to those Expos teams we had. You know what I'm saying? Bunch of guys that can run, guys that can put the bat on the ball. You know, occasional power. I don't need you to hit the ball over the fence. You know what I mean? Well, I'll take it from time to time, but you know, be in play, hit the ball in the gap. Let's run the bases. You know, that's the way I would like to play philosophically. But to play like that, you have to have the personnel to do that. You know what I mean? And that's a big part of it also. You know, our kids aren't out there right now. So
they're not there.
You know, a lot of the athleticism that we saw once upon a time, it's just not in the game right now.
And you know, the thing is too, Bob, when you talk about power, you know, and me and Ricky and, you know, Stoney, we talk about this before, is the power is not always hitting the ball over people. Power is hitting the ball past people. You know, and you got to think about what people pay to come into those games. They pay to be entertained, and speed has always been entertainment. You know, being able to steal a bag, being able to go first and third, being able to score on a base hit that normally you wouldn't score on a base hit. You know, being daring. So I agree with you 100%. Those Montreal teams were exciting.
You remember last year in the playoffs in the World Series, Mookie Betts made a couple of nice plays on the bases. Yes. Had a contact play and I mean, they were just, you know, people were just going crazy. I was like,
That's
we had a bunch of Mookie Betts back then. We played. We all played like that.
You're right.
Everybody.
Sure right.
Yeah. That was like such a big, you know what I mean? They were like, my God, did you see that play? I'm like, yeah, we all played like that. You know?
Yeah, put so much
that's how you aspire to play. That's when we played a lot of pickup ball. You dared somebody to throw you out. You let them know. I remember when Deion Sanders, when he came up through the minor leagues and he got to the big, he actually was Cincinnati when Derek got called up with San Diego. And I was sitting over the first base dugout. He walked. I saw him talking to Derek, and Derek pointed up toward me there during the game. And then Deion looked up and kind of gave me a little sign, like he pointed to second base, just literally right in front of just pointed to second base. Let the whole world know I'm running. I dare you to throw me out. Yeah. And he did. And he stole it. And then he come up and pointed toward me over there. And I'm kind of giving the fist and stuff. What's the secret? You think anybody's surprised that Deion was getting ready to still second base?
Just couldn't stop it.
Yeah. And they paid to see that, though. Like you said, they paid to come in and see him run them base.
That's what they paid. Deion got on base. That's what they paid to see, because now he's going to run. And to me, that's the exciting part of the game. It don't have to be analytical. People want to be entertained.
Yeah, we're in the feast or famine era of baseball right now. That's where we are.
What are we gonna do? What are you gonna do about it? We got some things coming up.
And,
Yeah.
and my thing is like Delino said, we're in the feast and famine, but then when they get into the playoffs, then they want to try and play small ball. One
Right.
ball games. Now we want to try and have guys bunt who haven't bunted in 2 years.
In 2 years, exactly. It's amazing to me. But man, I'll tell you, the fielding. Another thing is, for you were saying earlier, Delino, you moved from shortstop to second. I always look at it as a huge difference between the left side of the field. Ricky, you know, we've all done it. We moved from the left side of the field to the right side of the field. It's a whole different view. And when you moved to second base, what was that psychological feel that you had when you made that adjustment?
Well, I think just in general, the game slowed down a lot.
Okay.
You know, I didn't have to, you know, be as clean as shortstop. You know, you can't bobble a ball at shortstop. You know, you got to be accurate with your throws. And I could take a ball off my chest at second, pick it up, and still throw a guy out at second base, first base. You know, so the game slowed down a lot for me, and I think that allowed my offense to kind of come into play more.
Now, a lot of times we talk about middle infielders. It's good for a shortstop to know how to play second, the second baseman to know how to play short, and then they start trying to, you know, classify, say, well, we got this other guy playing second, you got to play short. And I'm using this example like when Kaz Matsui, the Japanese kid, he had called and asked for my advice. He's a shortstop, but the Mets wanted him to play short, and they were going to move Jose Reyes to second. And I go, Jose Reyes got a shortstop arm. Kaz Matsui got a Japanese shortstop arm, which don't equate to a major league shortstop arm. Because the guy just run a whole lot faster, you know. And they were trying to tell me, said, well, if he could play, if Jose could play short, he could play second. But now the pitchers were complaining and said, man, we like Jose at short because he can go in the hole and throw somebody out, you know.
Right.
He does things a little different. So there is a difference, isn't there?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
Especially you talking about playing at the big league level. That's really what separates guys like a Javier Baez and, you know, Trevor Story and different guys like that. They can finish plays. With their arm, you know,
that's a good term.
It's one thing to get to a ball, but to be able to finish the play, that's what separates these guys.
Exactly. That's great. Stoney, you played outfield, didn't you?
I played outfield, and then occasionally when I got the National League rule, when we had to play National League rule, I would come in and play first base sometime, and occasionally third.
Okay.
Just late in the game, you know.
Which one did you like better?
Stoney could pick it, Leon.
I know he could. I
like first better, you know. Third was a little high for me.
Yeah, but you know, me and you and Derek, I mean, they always, when he signed with the Padres, even though he was 6'5", they say, well, he's a good athlete. Anybody could play first. We're gonna try him out at third. And I say, anybody can't play first.
That's right. That's right. Not playing well, not playing like he played it. You know what I mean?
No, I know, but a first base could save you a run a game. A good first baseman could save you a run a game. That's the difference between winning and losing to me.
That's right.
If he not and Ricky, you know, you've seen some of the footwork nowadays. Oh man.
Yeah. Not
guys crossing over at first, reaching out, coming off the bag, missing ball. You know, the footwork is not working on how to see a ball move and react to where the ball is.
Yeah, they ranging out before the baseball even come their way to see where it's being thrown to. You know what I mean? And you're using the left foot to come all the way across to try to catch a ball when all you do is move your feet down the base, you know, whichever way it goes, you know. But like you said, you can save a lot of games over there. And also, see, I played with Dave Hollins and them, and Dave Hollins threw a lot of sinkers in the dirt. And if you didn't pick it for him, he'd be mad at you. You see, the air's on him. I mean, you can make a decent throw to me once in a while, but I mean, when he threw him in the dirt, he expected you to pick him. So I took a lot of pride in getting down in the dirt like a hockey goalie or whatever and making sure I made the play, because there was times when I had a hot shot and I had to throw to second. I might have threw wide or something. I want that shortstop or somebody to help me out too. So, you know, that was
exactly.
Rick had one of the best splits in the game. He was like Pops over there.
Who is that now?
I said Ricky, he could pick it over there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I had that limber. I was a splitter. I did the splits at first, and But one thing I showed Derek when he was young, guys throw different arm angles. The ball's going to bounce a little different. The dirt, you get to break up dirt or sandy dirt, it's going to bounce a little different. The throw angles are going to tell you which way the ball is going to bounce. And sometimes you just got to go out and get it, and it's a you can't just run out there and try to scoop it and turn your head and not have some information on how a ball is going to work, how it's going to bounce. And I know when Derek was with the Cubs, Aramis Ramirez had just come over from Pittsburgh off a 35 era season. And Derek saved so many of them throws on the inside of the bag or in the dirt. I think he went from 35 to 15, and it was mainly on throws because a lot of errors, like Delino said earlier, you got to be able to finish a play. You could catch it, but you got to be able to finish it. But you also got to have somebody over there that'll help you out every now and then.
And go back to what you were saying about what Delino was saying about being comfortable with moving over to second base. That was the same thing I saw in Derek. They had him in Rancho at third base. And
remember that?
His offense, he worried more about his defense, and it affected his offense. And as soon as they sent him to first base, it was 25 home runs here, 25 home runs there. It was a whole different ball game. He got him back into his comfort zone.
And to me, that's part of good management coaching is you got 9 defensive players out there. You always have a couple of guys that, sometimes without them even realizing it, on the right side of the field, left side of the field, they respond differently. You got to have guys in positions, in all those positions that are comfortable, because that's going to affect how they play. The chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And you got to make everybody on that field as comfortable as possible so you get the maximum out of each individual link. That individual is an individual. It's not about team, it's the individual. And what that individual does is going to help the team win ball games. That individual has a frame of mind to say, I'm going to sacrifice myself individually today so somebody else can excel. That's when the chemistry starts coming together. And nowadays, kids are so full of analytics, they're crying and screaming about, man, I didn't get my elbow right. I said, no, your elbow was right. Your heart was wrong. Your head was wrong. Your head's in the wrong spot. It had nothing to do with your elbow. I don't care if you stand on your head and put a frying pan between your toes. If your mind's right, you'll hit the ball. It's just simple as that to me.
It's a mentality.
Yeah, that's all it is.
That's right.
What you got, Steve?
Well, I was just going to ask if the teams these days at that level work on defense throughout the season, even as far as cutoffs, relays, all that. Does that get worked on throughout the season, or is that only a spring training thing?
Well, it does. But when I came to the big leagues, taking Rick can tell you that taking infield as a young player was mandatory.
Yes.
We took infield every day. I mean, my first 5-6 years in the big leagues, you couldn't say, no, I ain't taking it today. It wasn't even an option. You know what I mean? So that part of the game is gone. Their infield at the big league level is rare. But we do work on some of the other stuff. Not as much as I would like, but they still do work on it.
Yeah, how much work did you do around the bag, Ricky, when you played, just working on, balls off the wall, scooping balls, taking ground balls, taking throws from the guys, I just think that there's no replacement for the work.
Yeah, all the time. You come in early and get in early work. I had to work at it. I was a decent first baseman, but I wanted to get better at it, because I wanted to help the ball club out there, much as I could, as far as maybe knocking a ball down and throwing somebody out or whatever. But I just think preparation today is a little different because I've been to a few games and I watch them take BP and then everybody goes in the dugout. Like Bob said, we had to go out, you take ground balls, you working on other stuff, after just because you hit, you ain't done for the day. You go out there and do whatever.
You better not go in that dugout and sit down. You better not go in there and sit down.
Yeah. You working on all that stuff. And then you go in afterwards. Now you got to get ready for infield. Like Bob said, you taking infield. We had Larry Boy and John Vukovic and them. They was like, okay, infield right after the other team hits, you going back out there and take infield. You couldn't say, I'm not going to take it today. You better get out on the field and take infield. So
thank you.
That's right.
I think
do
it's
you think
important.
without doing the infield and stuff, do you think that that's a lot of the injuries also?
And that's kind of what I was thinking, giving them the benefit of the doubt. I know that these owners, they invested a lot of money in these kids today. You know what I mean? The money they make. And I wonder if they figure if they're out there, is that more opportunity for them to get hit in the face with a ball or to get a ball, you know what I mean, and get hurt and not be able to play in the game? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just a different era because when we were playing, we'd go out there, we didn't care. We got hit, we still was going to show up to play. Whether we had a little hurt wrist or whatever, we'd tape it up and get out there and play because that was opportunity for us to play. You know what I mean? Because I know if I slipped up one day and was hurt, I'm hurt. Here comes somebody else, man. You might be on the bench for a couple of weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wasn't trying to get that opportunity to nobody else.
But, I think infield, outfield practice before a game, to me, is vital. I just think that those touches before a game is real vital. Hitting cutoff guys, going through a routine, everybody getting loose. It's hard for me to buy in to worry about whether somebody's going to get hurt during infield, outfield. That's like, Bob, you playing basketball, and they say, well, we're going to cut out warm-up because somebody might get hurt. Just go out here and stretch a little bit and play the game.
Yeah, that's the mindset though here now though. It's like doing less is more. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Or it's going to prevent these kids from getting hurt. When in reality, that's backwards thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is. I think the more you do, I think you get more arm injuries from pitchers because they don't throw enough. I think in the old days, you saw
they don't run, they don't shag, they don't run, they don't do nothing.
See,
it's sad.
That is sad, and I hate to. I don't want to put you on a program here and we talking and doing bad apples, but it's a fact, and I'm not afraid to say it. I'm old school, but without the running part, of course, I played in Japan 10 years too, but I learned to believe that the better your legs are in shape, the more you run, the stronger you're going to be in August. And I used to love, I get myself in such good shape. And then when pitchers start losing a little bit of them fastballs, August was always a big month for me,
That's right.
Because there's no trade in for conditioning, when it comes to baseball, because there's so much downtime in and out.
That's
you have
right.
to make sure, it's easy not to work, do your running. And in our day, I know you guys ran all the time because you just love to run.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't imagine doing it any other way though. I mean,
that's right.
You don't use them. If you don't use them, you're going to lose them.
You're going to lose them. Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah, that's great. That's good stuff. What's you guys schedule? You guys got 29 straight coming up. Are you at home right now?
No, we just got to Cleveland. We're in Cleveland for 3. We go to Pittsburgh, and then we go to Colorado the next weekend for 4. So it's like a 10-day road trip.
All right, man. I'm gonna give you my word on something, Delino DeShields. So I love you to death. I miss you. I have to admit I hadn't been following the game as much, but now since you've been on the show, and the show's gonna do good, I'm gonna actually start following you now. So you can believe that when you're out on the field, that your old pops is gonna be watching you now. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be a little closer to you next weekend. You ain't got to stay up as late on the West Coast.
Are you guys going to be in San Francisco?
No, we'll be in Colorado.
Oh, Colorado. Okay, that'd
weekend.
Be closer. You got time frame. Yeah, that's good. I'll give you my word now. I'm gonna keep my eye on you now. It's so good to get back in touch. And then we've been talking before. Some of the stuff we got coming up is getting ready to get out here in late May, early June. Stoney's gonna keep you up abreast of all that. Me and you have talked and things that you're doing with oil can and things like that. We're gonna get together and pull this thing together. But for the rest of this season, I'm gonna have my eyes on you now. You can count on that.
All right. Hey, good seeing you guys. Good seeing you, Rick.
You too, man. Take it easy, huh?
You stay well.
And Stoney, I tell you what, man. What do you get? You guys are God something.
God brothers.
God brothers.
That's my little brother, Leon. That's my little brother.
I got
from
you.
Another mother,
I lose track of time and how much older anybody is of anybody, but you guys are God
That's
brothers, right. and you guys are like sons to me, and I'll never forget you. I know you helped my son Derek to a 15-year career. Those are some things that I never forget. That your contribution to our family has been priceless, and you had a great career, and I'm more than proud of that. But also having me on the show tonight, reconnecting again. Hopefully you'll come back on again with us.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. Steve?
All right. Well, I want to thank Mr. Ricky Jordan, Mr. Stoney Briggs, and of course our special guest, Delino DeShields, and of course Mr. Leon Lee. You can subscribe to our podcast at talkingbaseballwithleonlee.podbean.com. Also find us on Spotify and Google Podcasts. And we'll talk baseball with you all again soon.